It was 1998, and Sara Blakely was just an ordinary woman with a big idea and even bigger dreams. She wasn't born with a silver spoon in her mouth, and her life wasn't exactly what you'd call glamorous. Working as a saleswoman for fax machines in the early years, she had a job that left her unfulfilled and financially strained. But one night, while she was getting dressed, she had an epiphany that would change everything. She was struggling with the usual issues that come with traditional shapewear and comfortable seams, visible lines, and thought to herself, why isn't there something better? That one thought sparked a revolutionary idea, with no background in fashion or design. Sara had a vision for shapewear that would be comfortable, discreet, and effective. But there was a catch: she had just $5,000 to her name, and she needed to turn that small amount of money into something massive. The journey from $5,000 to a $1 billion business wasn't easy. In fact, it was filled with doubts, obstacles, and rejection. But Sara's persistence, creativity, and willingness to take risks would ultimately prove to the world that with the right idea, anyone can defy the odds and build an empire. Sara's journey to creating Spanx was not a walk in the park. The first challenge she faced was the lack of any technical knowledge. She wasn't a designer, she had no fashion experience, and she didn't even know the first thing about how to create fabric that would work for her product. But that didn't stop her. What she had was determination, a big dream, and the will to learn whatever it took to make it happen. She began by researching fabrics, working late into the night, trying to figure out the perfect combination. After a series of failed prototypes and countless rejections, Sara finally developed her first sample of what would become Spanx. She knew she needed to get this product into the hands of the right people, but how could she do that with no connections in the fashion industry? Most people would have quit at this point, but not Sara. She knew she had something that could change the world, so she took an unconventional route. In 2000, she decided to walk into Neiman Marcus, one of the top department stores in the US, without any appointment. And with just one product in hand. She wasn't a designer. She wasn't a celebrity. She was just a woman with an idea and a small prototype. But she managed to convince the buyers to give her a chance. That wasn't the end of her battle, though. After the initial approval, the product still had to prove itself on the shelves. How could Sara, a nobody in the fashion world, get people to try her shapewear? Sara's answer was to personally call women who had bought her product and get their feedback. This personal connection was the key. It allowed her to refine the product and, most importantly, get the word out about Spanx in a way that felt authentic and relatable. But there were still many obstacles ahead. Getting Spanx into stores was just the beginning. Sara had to convince a nation of women that her product worked and that it was worth buying. One of her most powerful moves came when she got Oprah Winfrey to mention Spanx on her show in 2000. Oprah's endorsement was a game changer. Overnight, Spanx became a household name. Sales surged, and the company was officially on the map. However, as the business grew, so did Sara's responsibilities. She quickly went from a small-time inventor to the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. And with that came the usual growing pains of running a business: hiring the right people, managing a rapidly growing brand, and maintaining the quality of her product. Despite these challenges, Sara was determined to keep her company true to its roots no matter how big it became. But the road wasn't always smooth. In the early days, Sara faced rejection from several manufacturers who didn't believe in her idea. She didn't let that stop her, though. She eventually found a manufacturer willing to work with her, and they began producing the first batch of Spanx. However, Sara couldn't just rely on a few retail stores to build her business. She knew she had to create demand and get creative with her marketing. The real turning point in Sara's journey came when Oprah Winfrey, a force to be reckoned with in the media, highlighted Spanx on her show in 2000. Oprah called Spanx her favorite thing that year, and that was a massive moment for Sara. The phone lines of the Spanx office lit up with orders, and within hours, her product was flying off the shelves. The small investment she made, $5,000, was now turning into an empire. It was a gut-wrenching moment for Sara. She had struggled, fought, and worked tirelessly to get to this point. But in that moment, everything felt worth it. Her hard work, her belief in the idea, and her willingness to take risks had finally paid off. She had built something that was not just changing her life but changing the lives of millions of women around the world. The $1 billion valuation was now within reach. However, despite the enormous success, Sara remained grounded. She knew that it wasn't just about the money. It was about creating a product that would truly help people feel better about themselves and empowered in their own skin. But the financial success was undeniable. Today, Sara Blakely is a self-made billionaire, but her journey didn't come without setbacks. What started with a $5,000 investment turned into a billion-dollar business. Spanx, a brand that reshaped the shapewear industry and revolutionized how women think about their bodies. Sara has become an inspiration for countless entrepreneurs, especially women, showing that even the smallest idea can lead to unimaginable success. She never let her lack of industry experience or the many obstacles she faced along the way define her. Instead, she used them as fuel to prove that with persistence, creativity, and unwavering belief in her product, she could achieve the impossible. She didn't just build a business. She built a legacy. From fax machines to Spanx, Sara Blakely's story is a testament to the power of taking risks, staying true to yourself, and believing that no dream is too big to achieve. Through her journey, she has shown the world that you don't need millions to start. Sometimes, all you need is $5,000 and a great idea. Sara's story teaches us that even when the odds are against you, and when it feels like you're in over your head, the right idea, paired with persistence, can change the world. And for Sara Blakely, it all started with a simple idea and a small investment.